Hey guys, Casey Screams back here. Today we're talking about how to actually get stuff done with something called block scheduling. So I've been nerding out on productivity stuff for quite a while. One of the most intimidating things is looking at a schedule. If you're anything like me, sometimes you will wake up and decide that you want to get a bunch of stuff done today. So you'll start making a list of all the things that you want to get done. And then what happens to me is that inevitably at the end of the day, I'll realize that I didn't get everything done and I'll feel like a failure because I didn't do all the things that I wanted to do. It kind of got me thinking about how do you actually set yourself up for success when it comes to having a to-do list. What I found is that it's not so much about a list of things that you need to do, as well as managing your time and your energy and attention throughout the day to actually do it. So let's say we have a to-do list and all the things that we want to do during the day. Maybe it's breakfast, walk the dog, finish the art project, go to work, lunch with friend, send emails, spend time with kids, read one chapter of a book, clean the garage, dinner, shower, fix the light. And let's say we're in reality land where things actually happen. Like, yep, got breakfast on the go, kind of. Don't have time to walk the dog. I forgot that I needed to do something to finish the art project, and that's going to take a lot longer. Not going to do that. I will go to work because I have to, or I'll get fired. I'll have lunch with my friend. I didn't have time for emails. I'm going to spend time with my kids. Not going to read the book because I have to go home and clean the garage. I got half of the garage cleaned, and then it was time for dinner. I did take a shower. Now I'm super tired, so I didn't fix the light. That's how most days go in my experience. And so now we have all of this left over. And now we have a couple of options. We either accept that they are never going to get done, or we can plan to get them done a different time, or we can just, I guess, sink down in failure and self-pity and feel like, well, I'm a piece of crap and I'm never going to finish my art project. Man, my poor dog really needs some attention. I really need to check my email, so maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'm just not going to read that book, I guess. I wish I had time to read. I still have to clean the garage. Maybe I can do that tomorrow. This is a problem. Here's why. If you haven't planned out and considered like the time that it takes to put into all of these things, you're basically kind of giving yourself a to-do list that may or may not be realistic. And there's no real way to check it just by looking at the list. Even if you were to limit it to like 10 things or 5 things during the day, each of those things could take longer than you might think it would. So like walking the dog, maybe that takes 15 minutes. Finishing the art project, maybe it'll take 2 hours. Breakfast, let's say takes 15 minutes. Go to work. That takes whatever your shift is, let's say 6 hours. Lunch with a friend, that takes 1 hour. Send emails, that takes half an hour maybe. Spend time with kids, hopefully that's a couple hours. Read a chapter of a book, that takes maybe 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, let's say half an hour. Clean out the garage. Realistically, cleaning out the garage probably takes like 3 or 4 hours. Dinner, 15 minutes. Shower, 15 minutes. Fix the light, who knows? That might take half an hour, might take an hour. Here's what we're doing. We have 30 minutes, 2.5 hours, 8.5 hours, 9.5 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 12.5 hours. Let's say 15.5 hours. And then this is plus half an hour, 16 hours, 16.5 hours during the day. And if you sleep a good amount of time, this would give you 7.5 hours of sleep. You might be able to do this. If you have 16.5 hours of things to do, you don't account for traveling to work. You don't account for getting breakfast ready. You don't account for like all of the little like in between times of things. And then not to mention things coming up and distractions happening, or that 16.5 hours, that quickly cuts into sleeping time that you should be having. The thing is that even though this might be possible during the day, it's not really realistic. What I'll do is I'll make this big list of things and go like, oh gosh, I didn't get it done. And you're holding yourself to this standard of like, oh, I'd like to do the impossible today. So here is a way that I have found that works better than doing this to-do list and feeling bad about it. So if you don't get everything done here on this list, you have a couple options. Either you never do this or you do it another day. And you might say that you have to do this tomorrow. Now, if you have a similar day tomorrow, that adds up because look at all these things I didn't get done today on a regular day. So here's how I structure my day. And I'm not perfect at this, but here's a way that I have structured my day so that at the end of the day, I accomplish what I set out to accomplish, and I feel like I actually did something. Don't feel like a failure at the end of the day. So instead of doing all of this, let's use block scheduling. Now, block scheduling is basically taking your to-do list and putting it into the actual schedule of the day and considering the hours that you are going to have. It's being realistic with the time that it takes to actually do stuff, and then planning not only the things that you're going to do for the day, but actually when you're going to do them. And it's really simple. This is pretty much how it works. What you do is you make a chart, something like this, between the hours that you want to plan. This can be from waking up to going to bed. This can be during the workday, whatever you want to do. But I have a very rough schedule here. You can just do this on a regular piece of paper. And what you do is you actually plan out the amount of time that stuff takes, right? So let's just plan out a work day, let's say, okay? Or maybe let's say this is a day off. Let's say this is a day off, okay? Of all these things that you want to do, how much time is everything going to take? So let's say you have breakfast at 9. From 9 to 9:30, you're going to eat breakfast. So now you know how much time is left during the day. Let's say you want to finish your art project. Okay, that's going to take maybe 2 hours. So when are you going to do that? Oh, maybe I'll do that at 1 o'clock. So then we can draw in a box here and say art project. So now it's really clear and really visual how much time you have left during the day, right? Got to eat lunch. So let's say lunch is from 12 to 12:30. If it's lunch with a friend, actually, that's probably going to be more like an hour. And this is taking into account like how long it takes to go from lunch back home to work on art, right? So maybe there's 15 minutes there of travel time. So you want to say like, okay, travel time, right? 15 minutes. So we got our art project. Now we have a couple more hours during the like working day. If I want to read one chapter of my book during this day, like how long is that going to take? Let's say maybe half an hour. So you have half an hour there. Walk the dog, 15 minutes. Okay, so after my book, I'm going to walk the dog for 15 minutes. Dog. So let's say we got to send emails. Those are half an hour, right? Maybe I could do that after I get back from the dog. Maybe I'll take a little break after the dog. So during this is emails, right? And now I have an hour between emails and lunch. What do I think? What would take like an hour? Let's say I could totally fix the light. I'll leave an hour for that because it might take longer to fix the light. Now I can spend time with the kids. That's 2 hours, right? Kids, boom. So let's say it's just something like that. So the idea here, even though these don't quite like, these aren't the exact same lists, but the idea here is that when you make a to-do list, you don't just list all the things that you want to do. You actually figure out when you're going to do it, how long it's going to take, and if it fits during the day. Because I look at this and I go, okay, if you have things that you absolutely have to get done during the day, schedule the most important things first. So for instance, if it's got to get the art project done, got to spend some time with the kids, put those in first and then fit everything else that might be less important, but you do want to do all around that. And so at the end of the day, you actually have a realistic expectation of what you want to get done. And not only that, but you have a plan of when you're going to do it. And the coolest part about this is that if you plan this at the beginning of the day or the beginning of the week or whatever, it takes away a layer of anxiety that exists during the day of always asking, okay, what am I doing? Should I be working on something else? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? It kind of takes away that like nervousness throughout the day because you've already thought about it. You've already considered all of that. All you have to do is just do your list now. And so, from 11 to 12, you don't have to worry about working on that art project or walking the dog or checking your emails or anything because right then you have a whole hour to fix the light and you work on one thing at a time. And then it completely like gets rid of that second guessing if you do it right. So that's something that has been really helpful for me is block scheduling. And this is something like, it's not really that difficult of a task. It's just a little bit intimidating, right? Because again, it feels like you are kind of boxing yourself into not being able to be creative with your day, not being able to kind of go with the flow. But the thing is, like, if you have an hour to do something between 11 and 12 and you get it done in 15 minutes, you actually can be creative with that time. You can do whatever you want because you don't have to do anything else until noon. And so it actually does free up quite a bit of time, not to mention the whole relieving anxiety thing. So I hope that makes sense as far as block scheduling. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. For more videos about crushing things and living in a way that is intentional, being creative, those kind of things, make sure to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. My name is Casey Screams Back. See you later.